Good evening, League of Legends. Happy Thursday night, November 15th. I'm sure some of you are enjoying the Buffalo-Miami game right now. That's not going real well for Burner. I'm pretty abysmal at this point. Again, I apologize for the lateness of the video. It is about 10:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, but had a long day at work. Had a meeting I had to go to. Got pretty heated there, actually. So had to come home and get something to eat. But moving on. Beer of the week. We'll do, I don't know if you can see that, Gritty's Christmas Ale. Pretty solid go-to beer around this time of the year. It's got a nice, dark, hoppy body to it. Just how I like my women. Actually, you like that one. Actually, I was at work today, and I called my wife, Whit, and told her that I needed some beer for Match of the Week, so she was kind enough to go out and pick this up for me today, actually, so I thank her for that. Moving on. Actually, don't want to go much further without saying Burn, our commish, big things happening for him right now. Just wanted to let you know that the league and myself are thinking of you and Rhiannon, and wish you all the best with your future endeavors, and whenever Baby Burnier is delivered, I'm sure she'll make an appearance in some Match of the Week video. So we'll leave it at that. Next, Girl of the Week. I have not posted the pictures yet. We'll be doing so soon. Had it narrowed down to a couple this week, spent some time online doing some research, and decided to go with a model named Joanna Krupa. She is on a show that I watch with Whit called Real Housewives of Miami. Yes, I admit that I watch it, but she's pretty solid, and she'll make appearances Girl of the Week. Cody, I did like your Girl of the Week last week, Alessandra Ambrosio. Victoria's Secret model, she used to be my all-time favorite. That's been somewhat supplanted by Candace Swampole, but that's neither here nor there. So, and actually one of the pictures this week is Joanna and her sister. So, continuing to move on. Before we get to Match of the Week, obviously I need to address what's been going on the message boards in regards to Cody and Burkle, and we'll put the C word out there. I'm not talking about cancer, I'm talking about collusion. And it's just pretty apparent what's going on. The trade obviously was pretty terrible. I mean, you're looking at Josh Freeman, who name recognition, yeah, may not carry a lot of weight, but this week he's the 12th ranked quarterback. The only people significant on buys, or not significant for that matter, Eli's on a buy. Okay, so maybe that pushes him to 13th best quarterback in the league. Ponder, Wilson, and Locker are also on a buy. They would be much farther behind Freeman. So basically the 13th best quarterback in the league. For Pierre Garçon, who's not even ranked top 50 wideouts. And I know he's got some injury and stuff like that, but even if he wasn't dealing with that, top 30, maybe. I mean, Burkle, the fact that you think that the trade was fair and that you were going to use him as a keeper next year for a 5th-round pick is laughable. So other than that, and actually as I was turning on the camera, my phone lit up a new trade coming across between Cody and Burkle, which I'll address right now. Donnie Avery, Michael Turner, and Doug Martin for Jamal Charles, Josh Freeman, and Chris Johnson. Now, and this is abysmal as well. So, basically, just trying to unload pure talent from Burkle's team. He's clearly throwing in the towel at this point. I have to go back and actually review the bylaws. Pretty sure there's got to be something in there regarding this, and there must be some penalty next year. But, so you got the 2 running backs for the 2 running backs, Michael Turner and Doug Martin. Okay, Martin obviously would be a nice keeper for next year. Michael Turner is washed up, and he's not going anywhere. So he's going to be a late draft round pick next year in case of an injury or something. So whether you're trading him for Charles or Johnson, either way, that's a bonus for whoever's getting Charles or Johnson. Doug Martin kind of will cancel out the other one. So in that aspect, Cody definitely winning there. And then Josh Freeman for Donnie Avery. I mean, come on. So that trade is a weak and feeble attempt to whatever it is you guys have going on. Clearly your teams are as one. If you won the trophy this year, I don't know if you would put both names, if you would split the money. I mean, is borderline cowardly, reminiscent of the Jets locker room in regards to Tim Tebow. What's going on with Burkle these days? And frankly, I'm a little upset about it. I had higher hopes for you, Burkle. So I hope you take a long look in the mirror and able to sleep at night based on what you do in League of Legends. So now that we got the messy business out of the way, let's get to the matchup. I initially was going to do Burkle and Raph. However, due to my tardiness, the game had already started, and I did not want to do a game with people in progress. So I went to my backup matchup, which was not exciting, but, you know, someone's got to be number one, so the battle for the top, Miller versus Sean. Before I start with that, actually, I calculated it out, and if Burkle would get his act together and pull his weight and try and win some games with the rivalry weeks going on now, if Burkle was able to win both of his matchups versus Raph, and the other people were able to sweep and go 2-0 that are in the middle of the pack right now, if Burn was to beat me, if the lower seed teams were to sweep and go 2-0, we could go into the final week, and the way things could play out, we could have 5 teams at 7-6 and 3 teams already locked into the playoffs. If it came down to that, with the 5 teams at 7-6, it would be King versus Sam for that final playoff spot. Those two would be 7-5, both at the time going into that matchup, and the winner of that game would get the final playoff spot. So obviously a lot of things would have to happen, but it's possible. If Burkle is just assigned to throw games, then it's all irrelevant, doesn't matter. But if Burkle tries, he can affect the way that the playoff standings unfold and still maybe even get in there himself. So that's all I'm saying. Clearly he doesn't feel that way, but what are you going to do? So getting to the matchup, Miller versus Sean. Let's start with Miller's team. Starting Peyton Manning, looking like a real nice draft pick at this point. Miller doing pretty well for you. He is averaging 25.65 points at home and just 19.38 points away. His lifetime stats versus the Chargers are 18 touchdowns, but with 19 interceptions. And he's thrown for about 2,800 yards. Versus all other NFL teams, there's only 5 other NFL teams where he's thrown more yards against. So I like him in this matchup. I think he's going to get close to what he usually does at home. I'm thinking about 23 points. Arian Foster going against Jacksonville, terrible. Not much to say. Foster is going to have another nice game. I predict him to do. He will bow twice. Whether it's a receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, he will bow twice for you. He'll, close to 100 yards, probably about 22 points. The law firm, not nearly as stellar as Foster, hasn't had great numbers recently, and I think the Kansas City defense is maybe up front a little bit underrated with what they're able to do. I mean, he'll get you some points, but he doesn't usually get you double digit. I'm thinking about 9 points. Felix Jones, question about DeMarco Murray. Is he going to play? If he does, obviously it's going to affect Felix, but even if he doesn't, I don't know. I'm not thinking it's going to be a great game for him. I think they're going to go to the air a little bit more and exploit that secondary. Thinking about 8 points out of Felix. Moving on, Malcolm Floyd. Denver's secondary is pretty legit, and they've been obviously had 2 turnovers for touchdowns last time they played the Chargers when they had that nice comeback. You got Von Miller off the edge rushing. You got Champ. And I don't think this game is going to happen the way that it did that Monday night game. I think the Broncos will control the game most of the time, so I don't think Floyd is going to have much to do. I think it's going to be about 8 points for him. Witten, his spleen is okay. His targets are okay. But he just doesn't seem to produce points-wise. So a mediocre game, about 8 points. They're giving up, what do I got here? Browns are third against the tight end as far as points go, so not a stellar game for him. Broncos D, kind of talked about them a little bit already. Obviously, they had a real nice game against the Chargers last time. I don't see them getting you 25 points this time, but I think they'll do pretty respectable, maybe even get another touchdown for you, about 11 points from them, and let's say 9 points from the kicker. Oh, and Julio Jones. Still got the questionable tag on him right now. I looked at the bench. You got Santana there. He's coming back from a concussion. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're going to do there. I think either way, no matter which person you decide to play, not going to be a stellar game. Let's say another 10 points or so. All right, let's move on to Sean's team. Marshawn's Skittles Factory. We got Drew Brees. Raiders secondary is weak, and some stats on Brees. He is 6-0 versus Oakland all time, with 13 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's got a 70.4 completion percentage and 120 QB rating. I think he's going to have a nice game. I think versus Peyton, he'll do a little bit better, about 27 points. Frank Gore. If Alex Smith was playing, I think he would have a better game because they would have to respect the pass a little bit more with Kaepernick back there. I think in the 49ers, receivers aren't incredible to begin with, so I think they're going to play up a little bit, stuff him a little bit more. He's still going to have an okay game, about 14 points, I think. Next, McGahee. This Broncos-San Diego matchup is a big one for you guys here. McGahee, he's doing okay since, you got him in the trade. 9.8 points last time he played the Chargers. I think this time he's going to be around there with yards, the 50 to 60 yards mark, but I think this time he punches in a touchdown because I think Denver really controls the ball much better in this game, and I think they get close, and he punches in a touchdown this time for you. Vincent Jackson, looking at his player card there on the ESPN site and using the ESPN stat that they had posted, he really goes back and forth, good versus ugly games, except for, I think, week 6 and 7, he had 2 good games back-to-back. Other than that, he had a miserable week last week, so you would assume he's queued up for a pretty decent double-digit fantasy point week this time. We'll go about 13 points with VJax. Bolden, not a whole lot to say about Bolden. He's kind of an afterthought now that Torrey Smith is really emerging as Joe Flacco's primary receiver. He'll get the tough yards on third down, and he'll make some important catches, but they won't be big TD-grabbing catches. So about 7 points out of Bolden. Jones, Jennings looks like he's going to be out again. He's going to have a solid day, about 12 points. Heath, Miller, still thought to be primarily a blocking tight end. He did have some pretty decent games as far as bringing down some touchdown receptions, but the defense is just stout against the tight end. And I think he gets probably about 7 points for you. Finishing up here, Texans D against the Jags. That's a nice play to have this week. Not to toot my own horn, but picked up the Colts D off the waiver wire, played against Jacksonville, who hadn't gotten any turnovers basically all year, and ended up getting, I think, like 3 against them. Jacksonville is just horrible on offense. Gabbard is horrible. Jennings isn't doing anything. And the Texans D is already light years ahead of the Colts defense. So I'm thinking a nice game. Definitely some type of touchdown, whether it's a pick six, blocked punt, something along those lines. I think you get about 15 points out of the defense, I do. And Hansen will give you about 7 points. So tallying all that up, I'm going against what ESPN thinks, and I'm giving the victory to Sean with 115 points versus Miller, who I think will end with about 108 points. So there you have it. That's my matchup of the week. We're going on about 14 and a half minutes. So again, I apologize for the delay, but also I will quickly show you. Got a dog last weekend. There he is. He is sleeping on the love seat. His name is Max. He is a German Shepherd Elk-Hound mix. So thought he would make his first appearance for League of Legends. But I will let you guys get back to it. I'll get this video up soon, and I'll get the pictures up. And I look forward to seeing everyone on the message boards. And please do not be afraid to call out Burkle and or Chris Cody. based on your feelings about what is happening, and I will look into the bylaws to see if there's anything in there about what is taking place in this league, because I know Byrne is occupied right now. So enjoy the game tonight, enjoy the games on Sunday, and I will catch you guys later.